Hi Georgina, thank you for coming in and doing a nutritional counseling with me. Today is Monday the 3rd and we are just going to go over some things through your medical history and go over your 5-day dietary analysis, right?
Sounds good.
So you're 20 years old and do you have any concerns today?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so I just kind of want to talk about your medical and social history. So you have an Nexplanon. It doesn't have any oral side effects, but it can give you headaches, dizziness, and depresses your CNS. Have you had any issues with that in the past?
No, none at all actually.
Okay. And then looking over your dental history, so you said that, or you have in the past grind your teeth at night and you've knocked out your front teeth or half of your front tooth. Yeah. And then you said that sometimes you can get sensitive to sweets and cold.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good about that lately. I've been brushing with the sensitivity toothpaste kind of on and off. It really doesn't, it was more in the past.
Yeah.
I had a defective filling, but I wear my night guard now, so I hope that
That's good.
things are.
Okay, so yeah, with that, I just kind of want to touch on that because you've had history with grinding your teeth. So grinding it down, it's never gonna like come back to how it was before. So that also can play a factor in caries or cavities for your teeth. And so we're gonna touch on that in a little bit, but just want you to know that sometimes like habits can start to affect what other things happen in your mouth.
Yeah.
So looking over your intraoral and extraoral findings, there's nothing that I saw that you're in any nutritional deficiency, but there's sometimes signs of like if your tongue is cracked, you could not be eating enough water, it could be due to some medications, sometimes habits. So, but that all looks good. So you're doing good in that area. I want to talk about, so your caries risk, so you were put at a moderate cavities risk, and that was because you have like restorations or fillings that are in between your teeth, and you have a removable appliance which you wear at night, which is good. So it just kind of, because you wear it, it kind of puts you at a higher risk for it. And then I'm going to go over the kind of factors that go into having a cavity.
Okay.
So, right here we have 4 things that can cause cavities. So you have bacteria. It could be a good bacteria or bad bacteria, but bad bacteria, when it sits on the teeth, it can cause a cavity. Obviously a diet is a big part of it as well. So eating soft, sticky foods, carbs that can just kind of link to your, or attach to your tooth can, for over a long period of time, can start to break down the outer surface and cause some cavities. Your salivary flow, if you don't have enough, things tend to stick more in your mouth. But going over your findings, your salivary flow is fine. And then your tooth resistance. So if you're drinking things that are acidic, like coffee, if you're eating things that are sugary or energy drinks or things, sodas, those tend to have high acidity. So when you do drink those things, do you drink them in one sitting or over a period, like throughout the day?
So I typically drink tea, but when I do drink it, I have a tendency to drink like my teas and my juices really fast.
Okay.
So it's typically, right away.
Okay, that's good, because the longer it sits on your tooth, the more it breaks it down. And also with your grinding, you've kind of wore away a little bit of your outer enamel, so sometimes it leaves your tooth a little bit more resistant and a little bit weaker. So these things will tend to happen, on teeth that are more sensitive. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Okay.
A good thing for that is when you are eating or drinking things like that, to rinse your mouth with water after, or let it kind of like, just drink it all at once and then let your mouth kind of like have some time remineralize itself. So I kind of want to go over and then also with cavities, it's about the it's not really about the quantity, it's more about the like frequency. So like I said, like more frequent throughout the day, you're more susceptible. It not just like if you're eating it all in one sitting and then like kind of like rinsing your mouth after. So that's something, because if you're doing it all day, you decrease the calcium and phosphates for your teeth, and they need that.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I do eat it, right away. I mean, it's more for my drinks that I drink it right away. But when I'm eating, I tend to, and if I'm watching something, sometimes I tend to just kind of snack throughout the whole thing, and so I could work on that.
So that's something to keep in mind too, just to be more conscious about it. Like, oh, if I'm going to eat this cupcake or whatever, to make sure that you just don't take a bite, then like maybe 2 minutes, like actually just sit down, eat it, be done with it, then drink water, rinse. Also,
I like to keep the flavor in my mouth.
Totally, I understand.
But a rinse would be good, something I can work on too.
So also, when all that is happening, the bacteria, it's demineralizing your teeth. So we want to make sure that you are taking action to remineralize your teeth. So things with fluoride in them can help. Your saliva can help. Rinsing your mouth, brushing your teeth, flossing to get the things between your teeth out, because they'll just stay in between. And I know you have some interproximal or in between restorations that has happened in the past. So that's something also. And then just your acids to keep it, because the higher the pH, the better. The lower, the more acidic it is. So even if it's just like carbonated water, it still has the acidity, even if the sugar is not there. So that's something else to keep in mind about.
So just kind of rinsing to return it back to that neutral state.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's what I have to say about the caries risk. And then
how does that relate to what I've been eating?
So I'm going to get to that. So we also, when we put the disclosing solution, the pink on your teeth, or the red to see, you're at a 16%, so it's not very high, but it just kind of showed us the areas that you have plaque accumulating, and it's more like in between your teeth. So that all plays into a factor with what you eat. So what you eat affects what's going on in your mouth. So I've been kind of looking at what you ate through your 5-day process, and I kind of want to talk about, so I highlighted some areas that were high in sugar. So even things that you don't think would be high in sugar, like peanut butter is high in sugar and it's sticky. So that's one thing. I know you put it in your smoothie, but that's something to think about too. It might be good in protein though, so it is good for you to make sure that if after you are done eating it, that you're rinsing with that. Things like your tomato soup, I know it's store-bought.
Yeah, it
so that tends to have high sugars, so watch out, because tomatoes are still considered a fruit. And
kind of probably acidic too, aren't they?
Yes, very acidic. And then you ate some Oreos, and
they're so good.
I know, and pecan pie, but like also to make sure that you're rinsing after that. And Oreos are crumbly, so they really do get in between your teeth. And one big thing I also do want to talk about is the Caribou coffee. So it was one of the highest things that came up with your sugars. So also like the like whipped cream or whatever they use in the mocha and the sugar that tend to be a lot higher. That's something to kind of keep in mind about, that if you're drinking your coffee, that was kind of the only day you did drink coffee, and you said before that you're not a very consistent coffee drinker.
Yeah, I typically go with tea, but someone had gotten it for me, so I drank it. But I guess sometimes my teas do, it's like a chai, so that does still have some sugar in it, so that is something I could watch out for.
Any like honey or sugar into your teas when you have them?
No, I mean, no, not really. I guess it's just kind of, I'll get the chai tea, but sometimes they have the like sugar-free flavor shots. But I mean, so I don't know if that really has anything, because it is sugar-free, but
yeah, so let's go with the sugar-free, but just remember that just because it's sugar-free, there still could be some acid connection to it too, so that's something else. Also, There's a day that you ate pizza for breakfast, pizza rolls for breakfast, and pizza for lunch.
Yeah.
So also like hidden sugars, like carbohydrates that are sticky for your teeth, also play a factor in it as well. Things that you don't think would be, but some things that are more soft and sticky, kind of like have an effect on your mouth. We do this thing where we score the sweets that you do. That it's like liquid, solid, and sticky, and slowly dissolving. For your total of your days, it was 8. For a total of your 5 days, it was 8, and when we divided it, it was 1.6 daily. So you're at a low to medium, which is really good. So that's where you kind of want to be at, and it seems like you really take care of yourself. So for your age, being 20 years old, your calories per day are 2,200. Going through your calories, there's days that you don't quite meet the requirement. So I think with you, the consistency is a little off. So some days that you're really close to meeting it and you have a well-balanced diet, and then there's some days that are really like heavy on one side, like carbs or... So it's something to maybe try to work on, keeping a more consistent diet, or finding things that you can meet areas. And I know that you said that you are a pescatarian, so you don't eat any meats, but you still eat fish. So that's really good to get your protein. Fish are really good for oils. So since you don't get protein from meat, do you take anything to get the vitamins that you're not getting?
Yeah, I do take a multivitamin, which has it has the B12 in it, and also since I also like limit my dairy intake, or I try to at least. Like I don't really drink the milk, but I do drink almond milk, which has it says that it has higher calcium, so I hope that that's true. But
almond milk is good. Soy milk, to look into like how much you're getting of that is really good. Also like you had cheese on pizza, so there's like you do get your cheeses in other places. So a recommendation is if you feel like you're low on your proteins, to like nuts and seeds are really good for protein. Peanuts, things like that. Some darker vegetables have proteins in them.
Kale and stuff.
Things like that as well. I think you do pretty good on your veggies and your grains. So I think you're meeting your requirements for that. I think you could bump up your fruit though, like your natural fruits, like having fruit for the morning. It's like they're there, but
kind of jumpstart your morning.
Yeah, they're there, but it's not enough.
Yeah, I kind of have a sweet tooth, so it's hard because I should stick more to the natural sugars instead of like having pie for breakfast. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind, and then I think everything else you do pretty good in meeting your requirements. There's some other things I want to talk about. So I kind of want to go over periodontal because that plays a factor with your diet as well. So we're the class 1, so there was a tiny bit of inflammation, and I'll show you which is more. Periodontal disease is just a type of bacteria that affects your bone in your gingiva, and you sometimes can get your gingiva to come back, but you can't get your bone to come back. So that's something that we want to keep in mind of. So we shoot for having healthy gums, but some of us sit at gingivitis, which there's inflammation. We don't ever want it to progress to periodontitis because it's a disease and it's something that you can't get rid of, but you can maintain. Good things to eat that help with fibers for your teeth are broccoli and carrots. They help keep them strong. And I've noticed that you eat broccoli and carrots.
Yeah, I like broccoli. I guess when I eat it though, I like to dip it in stuff.
Hummus?
Yeah, hummus.
Which chickpeas are really good for protein as well. So that's something good too. But also remembering that hummus is kind of sticky as well. So just making sure that you're doing a rinse for that. And I think you do really good with eating your vegetables, the ones that kind of help with the
So
fiber.
I'm at stage 1.
So you're so what we do is like type 1, which is like you have no loss of attachment. There was a little bit of bleeding and you have a little bit of inflammation. So it's something you can work on with brushing and flossing to make sure that you get the teeth or the food that's in between your teeth. Like if you eat kiwis, there's seeds in those. There's certain things that little broccoli stems can get, or the tops can get stuck in your teeth, and any food that sits in your mouth over a long period of time starts to kind of build up and cause more of a problem in your mouth. So that's something just to be aware of. So listening to all of this, do you feel like there is room for improvement?
Yeah, I feel like some things I could improve on are being more consistent, because I mean that is true that some days I am just not eating enough, and I feel like it's hard with my schedule, but you know, meal prep would be something that would be really good for me to be more consistent on. So I definitely agree there, and I guess I think it would be better for me to maybe rinse more in between, just because let them remineralize like you were saying.
Those are great goals to work by. I also think the same things. Also, maybe making sure that when you are eating sweets, and also to rinse, but also to make sure that you're flossing, and like with little bits of Oreos to make sure that they're not stuck in the teeth, because you know when you eat them, sometimes you like can still see
the
between your teeth. So, and then just with your history of grinding too, you want to make sure that you're keeping your teeth as strong as possible. And I think you're doing a great job overall. There's a little room for improvement, but it's nothing too severe, and I think you're doing a great job. Do you have any other questions for me?
I don't think so. So you think that these, I'll be able to do this fine then? Yeah,
and then over when we see you again in the next 6 months, we can kind of go over and see if anything has changed, if anything's improving. Do you feel like your overall health is getting better? Do you think it will affect your mouth? It's kind of some things to think about in these next couple months.
So I'll just try and eat more natural sugars, like fruits and stuff.
Yeah, be more consistent. But it seems like you, really try to. You start off really good, and then maybe start to fall off towards the end of the day or at night, which I know you're going to school, so maybe it's kind of like a stress reliever to go home and like eat some Oreos or so.
Yeah, some things like that.
Yeah.
So just that makes sense.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.